My parents disowned me on a Tuesday night. My brother laughed while they did it. And if I had known what would happen just 24 hours later, I would have smiled instead of cried. Before I tell you how it happened, tell me, where are you listening from right now? And don't forget to subscribe if you love stories where karma doesn't knock. It crashes through the door. My name is Claire. I'm 36 years old. And until that night, I truly believed family was the one place you were safe, even when the world turned cold. I was wrong. It started with a phone call that felt too formal to be normal. My mother's voice was flat, rehearsed, like she'd practiced the words in front of a mirror. "We need to talk," she said. When I arrived at my parents' house, my brother Evan was already there, leaning against the counter with that familiar smirk, the one he wore whenever he knew something I didn't. They didn't waste time. My father folded his hands and said, "We've decided it's best if we cut ties." No build-up, no explanation, just a sentence that split my life clean in two. I laughed at first because it sounded ridiculous. Disowned? That was something that happened in movies. But then my mother slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a typed letter, legal language, cold words. It stated I was no longer welcome at family events, had no claim to future support, and should respect their boundaries. Before I could even process it, Evan clapped slowly. "Took you long enough," he said, grinning. "I told them you never amount to anything." My stomach dropped. This wasn't just my parents' decision. This was his victory lap. He leaned closer and whispered, "You should have known your place." I demanded to know why. My mother's eyes flicked to Evan, then back to me. "You're disruptive," she said. "Always questioning things. Always doing things your own way." My father added, "And we heard about your financial situation." I froze. I hadn't told them anything about my work recently. That's when Evan shrugged and said, "I might have mentioned you're barely getting by." He was lying. But they believed him because it fit the story they wanted. I tried to defend myself, to explain that my consulting business was finally taking off, that I'd been quiet because I was busy, not failing. Evan laughed out loud. "Sure it is," he said. "You've always been good at pretending." Then he delivered the line that still echoes in my head. "When you crash, don't come crawling back. You're on your own now." My parents stood up together. My mother said, "This is final." And just like that, I was escorted to the door of the house I grew up in. No hugs, no tears, just the click of the lock behind me. I sat in my car for nearly an hour, hands shaking, staring at the porch light like it might turn back on if I waited long enough. I drove home numb. Somewhere between the highway and my apartment, my phone buzzed. A notification from my bank, then another, and another. At a red light, I glanced down, and my breath caught. A deposit had cleared, not a few $100s, not even a few thousand. It was a 6-figure transfer. I pulled over, heart racing, convinced it was a mistake. The memo line made my pulse spike. Acquisition complete, final payment. My hands started to tremble. 24 hours earlier, my parents had decided I was a liability, a failure, someone to cut off. And now, my phone was lighting up with confirmation emails from a deal I'd spent months quietly negotiating. I hadn't told anyone, not my parents, not Evan. I wanted to be sure before I said a word. The consulting firm I built from scratch, working nights, weekends, skipping holidays they never noticed anyway, had just been bought out by a larger company. The deal had gone through that afternoon. While my brother was mocking me in my childhood kitchen, my life had already changed forever. I sat there in my car, the streetlights blurring through tears I didn't realize were falling. Not tears of sadness. Something sharper, something steadier. Because for the first time since that door closed behind me, I understood something clearly. They didn't disown me because I failed. They disowned me because they never imagined I could succeed without them. I didn't go home right away. I sat in that parked car until the sky began to lighten, replaying every word my parents and Evan had said. But now those words sounded different, smaller. By the time I finally drove back to my apartment, I wasn't crying anymore. I was thinking, carefully, because suddenly, I had something I'd never had before, leverage they didn't know about. The next morning, my phone exploded with messages, unknown numbers, missed calls, emails marked urgent. The company that acquired my firm wanted onboarding meetings, legal confirmations, press coordination. I skimmed through it all, calm on the outside, buzzing inside. And then, right in the middle of it, a text popped up from my mother. Just 3 words. "We need to talk." I laughed out loud. Less than 12 hours after disowning me. I didn't reply. Instead, I noticed something else. An email from the same bank my parents used. The subject line froze me. Account review. Immediate action required. My stomach tightened. I opened it slowly. It wasn't about me. It was about a shared investment account my parents had opened years ago, with my name still technically attached, something Evan had insisted on managing for them. According to the email, the account was flagged due to irregular movements and pending verification. That was odd. I hadn't touched that account in years. I called the number listed, expecting a quick clarification. Instead, the bank officer asked, "Miss Harris, did you authorize your brother to move funds using your identity?" My chest went cold. "What?" I whispered. She paused. "There are documents here with your digital signature." I told her the truth, that I hadn't signed anything. Her tone changed immediately. Professional, serious. "Then we need to escalate this," she said. She explained that Evan had recently tried to secure a personal loan using that account as partial collateral, and my name is cosigner, without my consent. If approved, I would have been liable. My hands shook as I hung up. My brother hadn't just mocked me, he'd used me, risked my credit, my future, and my parents, they'd taken his side without even checking. I suddenly understood why they were so quick to cut me off. If I was gone, I couldn't question anything. That afternoon, my father called. I let it ring. Then my mother again. Then Evan. I ignored them all. Instead, I forwarded the bank's escalation email to my personal attorney, the same one who'd reviewed my acquisition contract. His reply came fast. "This is serious. Do not contact them yet." By evening, I got a message from Evan that made my skin crawl. "Hey sis, let's not be dramatic. We can talk this out." The audacity stunned me. Hours earlier, I was disposable. Now I was sis again. I didn't respond. The next morning, my parents showed up at my apartment unannounced. I watched them through the peephole, my mother wringing her hands, my father looking angry, not worried. I didn't open the door. Instead, I listened as my mother said, loud enough for the hallway to hear, "Claire, please, this is a misunderstanding." My father added, "Your brother made a small mistake." A small mistake. Identity fraud. I opened the door just enough to say, "You disowned me, remember?" Their faces drained of color. My mother started crying instantly. My father stiffened. "We didn't know about the account," he said. I met his eyes. "You didn't ask. Evan wasn't with them." That bothered me. Later that day, I found out why. The bank had frozen the account entirely. His loan application was denied. And because the documents were flagged, his employer, who'd co-signed part of his financial disclosure, was notified. Evan worked in finance. Compliance mattered a lot. That night, my phone rang again. Evan this time. His voice was different, tight, panicked. "What did you tell the bank?" he demanded. I stayed calm. The truth. There was silence. Then he snapped, "You're ruining my life." I almost laughed. Instead, I said quietly, "You already tried to ruin mine." He hung up on me. An hour later, my mother texted, "Please, your father isn't well. We didn't raise you to be cruel." I stared at the message for a long time. The guilt almost worked. Almost. Until another email arrived. This one from my attorney. Subject line, "Evidence confirmed." Attached were copies of the forged signatures, traced, verified. And one more note. Evan had listed my recent income projections on the loan form. Numbers only someone inside my business dealings would know. He'd been watching me, counting on me staying small. I closed my laptop and leaned back, heart pounding. They thought disowning me would erase the problem. They had no idea this was only the beginning. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table, watching the city lights flicker, rereading the email from my attorney until the words felt burned into my eyes. Evidence confirmed. Forged signatures, unauthorized use. The beginning. I finally understood what he meant. This wasn't about revenge fueled by anger anymore. This was about truth stepping into the light, whether my family liked it or not. The next morning, I woke up to a voicemail from my father that sounded nothing like the man who disowned me. His voice was shaky, controlled too tightly. "Claire, please call us. This has gone too far." I deleted it. 10 minutes later, my mother sent a picture. Me as a child, sitting on her lap. No words, just guilt, wrapped in nostalgia. My hands trembled, but I didn't break. Not this time. At noon, my attorney called. "The bank is moving forward," he said. "And there's more." My stomach dropped. Evan's employer had launched an internal investigation. Apparently, the loan attempt triggered a deeper audit, and it uncovered inconsistencies tied to other accounts he'd handled. Not criminal yet, but close enough that his position was suspended pending review. My brother, the golden child, was suddenly unemployed. That's when Evan showed up at my door. I didn't expect to see him there. Eyes bloodshot, suit wrinkled, confidence completely gone. He looked smaller somehow. "You did this," he said, before I could speak. I tilted my head. "No, you did," he scoffed, pacing my hallway like he still owned it. "You always hated that I was better than you." That was the moment it hit me. He truly believed that. I calmly said, "I didn't hate you. I just stopped saving you." His face twisted. Then came the shock. He dropped to his knees, actually dropped. "Please," he whispered. "If this goes legal, I'm finished." My chest tightened, but my voice didn't shake. "You already went legal when you forged my name." Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. He stood up slowly, eyes dark. "Mom and Dad won't survive this," he warned. "That's on them," I replied. 2 days later, we were all sitting in a lawyer's conference room. The same parents who disowned me, now flinching every time papers slid across the table. The bank representative laid everything out. Dates, amounts, signatures. My mother cried openly. My father stared straight ahead, jaw clenched. Evan said nothing. When asked if he disputed the findings, he shook his head once. That was it. No speeches, no excuses. Just the truth, undeniable and final. The twist came when the lawyer looked at me and said, "Miss Harris, given your cooperation and documentation, you are fully cleared of liability." Then he turned to my parents. "However, because this account originated under your household and benefited your son, recovery may involve family assets." My mother gasped. My father finally turned to me, eyes wide with fear. "Claire, please." I felt something unexpected then. Not triumph, not rage, peace. I told them I wasn't pressing charges. Evan would face consequences through the bank and his employer, but I wasn't interested in destroying him. "I just won't protect lies anymore," I said. Evan broke down crying. My parents didn't thank me. They just looked relieved, and that told me everything. A week later, the news of my company's acquisition went public. Interviews, headlines. My inbox flooded with congratulations. That same morning, my mother called again. This time, her voice was quiet. "We were wrong about you," she said. I closed my eyes. "I know," I replied. I didn't add anything else. Some apologies don't need answers. I haven't seen Evan since. I hear he's trying to rebuild. Starting from zero. My parents still call. Carefully now, like they're afraid I might disappear again. Maybe I will. Or maybe I won't. Because for the first time in my life, I get to choose. If you've ever been made to feel small by the people who were supposed to protect you, let me ask you this. What would happen if you stopped explaining yourself and let the truth speak instead? Sometimes, the most powerful revenge isn't loud or cruel. It's standing still while the lies collapse on their own. If this story made you feel something, take a moment to reflect on who really deserves access to your loyalty. And if you are listening right now, remember this life lesson. Being family doesn't give anyone the right to use you, silence you, or sacrifice you for their comfort. Respect is not inherited, it's earned.